All right. Good morning, everybody. It is that time again. Early morning crypto talk. Bitcoin Brandon here from Los Angeles, California. Thank you for being here. Let's see, who do we have on the line? We've got Jesus Perez, Kelvin Anderson, Nazim, Rick Williams, Mafus, Juan Taylor, Nicholas, Aurelia, Mr. Ron Ross, Calvin Iserman. Good morning. Bill Childers. Hope your weekend is going good so far. One more day left before we begin another week. And also the last week of July, going into August. Mafus, you were in Pennsylvania, huh? My wife's from Philadelphia. What's going on, Victor from Illinois? I will be in Illinois in 2 weeks. I'll be in Chicago. As a disclaimer, I'm not a licensed financial advisor to be dispensing financial advice. I read the news, give my opinion, share suggestions, and it is up to you to make an informed decision on which direction you want to go in. There's 4 rules I live by in the crypto space. Rule number 1, education is everything. Rule number 2, never invest money you cannot afford to lose. Rule number 3, always get your money back as fast as possible. And rule number 4, stay focused. Now, this isn't going to guarantee you success, but it will at least minimize your risk. And that is all that you can ask for, or the best that you can ask for. All right, let's go over a couple of articles here because I did not do a late night crypto talk last night, so I'm behind on my articles. So the first one that we're going to talk about is, let's see, crowd psychology driving BTC prices, finance experts say. I agree with that. Finally, they're looking at the real issue on, outside of market manipulation, how Bitcoin price can move up or down. Crowd participation. Let me copy this and put it in the chat box for you. All right. According to a survey conducted among finance professionals, Crowd psychology is the main factor determining the movements of Bitcoin market prices. More than half of the polled experts shared this opinion. Many of the individuals surveyed also expressed concerns about the issue with crypto custody, saying that the way cryptocurrency is stored now prevents BTC from becoming a global reserve asset. Cryptocurrencies have been through a lot of downturns this year, but the latest upward trend on the back of positive expectations has provided ground for optimism. Bitcoin core markets are recuperating from this year's lows of less than $6,000 USD per 1 BTC in June to more than $8,000 this month. I have not looked at the price this morning. I just woke up. Let me take a look at this. See, what is the current market doing over the last 24 hours? So it's basically unchanged. $8,200 per coin. Still up a little in the green. Really hasn't gone much higher than that. Total market cap is $297 billion. And the entire market, mostly, is still kind of 50-50. Flat rate. So I still see a lot of reds in there. What's going on, Lashana? So yeah, it's kind of flat. But anyways, now a new survey has revealed what finance professionals think about the major factors that are moving the price of the digital asset. More than half of the respondents in the poll conducted by DataTrek Research believe the recent market developments are closely correlated to the so-called crowd psychology phenomenon. Yeah, it's like a mob mentality. 52% of the question said that's the main driver of the price of the cryptocurrency with the largest market cap. That was the reason last year. Not necessarily the reason this year. According to Nicholas Colas, co-founder of DataTrek Research, this is the single most surprising response of the whole survey. Market Watch reported, commenting on the results of the study, he said, finance professionals make their livings by analyzing asset values through the lens of fundamental quantifiable factors. That more than half of respondents believe valuation in the crypto space is purely a function of crowd psychology is refreshing in its honesty. On the other hand, only 15% of the polled experts think the price of Bitcoin Core is a function of the growing usage of the cryptocurrency. The survey also found that the issue with crypto custody, or the way cryptocurrencies are held and stored, is a major concern for many investors. 38% of the questions said BTC would never become a reserve asset on a global scale. Of the 216 professionals that have participated in the DataTrek poll, 42% are employed in the traditional money management industry, and another 24% are working as brokers. Just in the past 2 weeks, BTC markets have gained approximately 30% after a brief descent below $8,000 at the time of writing Bitcoin, and is again trading above this threshold. I don't think the current market right now has to do with crowd psychology, other than when fear happens and it starts to go down a little bit. I still think it's market manipulation and what's going to go on with the ETFs. All right, let's close that one out. But I do think the run-up, though, is going to have to do with crowd psychology. And it is the uninformed. And that's a very, very scary thought. Tell you right now, I say it all the time, I will not do business with you. I will not invest with you. I will not entertain anything in the crypto space with you if you don't have basic crypto knowledge. And here's an article out of the UK. UK crypto investors' lack of knowledge is very concerning. When I first came into or started looking at crypto, and I had associates of mine that were making a lot of money, they were killing it. in crypto. And I was like, man, if you guys can do it, so can I. So I started asking questions. And they couldn't answer my questions. And it became very clear that they really didn't understand what crypto was all about. I got somebody blowing me up here. Oh, it's Kathy Keene. Yeah, she's sending. She doesn't know I'm doing a live right now. Doing live, but you are the third person to send me this. I will watch after. All right. I guess there's a video going out, and now this is the third person to send me this video. So I guess it might be something that I want to look at. Kathy's on right now. Kathy, I just woke up not too long ago and I got 3 messages. You're the third to watch this video called The Third Industrial Revolution in a Zero Marginal Cost Society. Oh, you better believe I'm going to watch that, because we are in an industrial revolution right now. I wonder if this video is going to be talking about crypto or digital currency. Oh, yeah. Oh, wait. What is that? Jeremy Rifkin will lay out a game plan for the future, referring to the advent of a smart, green, digital economy. Green. Is he talking about what I think he's talking about? Is he talking about Green X? If not, yeah, I'm going to be all over that. He is talking about Green X? Oh, well, we're going to use this as promo. All right. So anyways, like I said, this article here, and let me make sure that I post it in the chat box. I don't know. Let me go back, copy the link. I don't remember if I posted it. I got fish brains this morning. All right, I'll post it again just in case. Okay. Like I was saying, I will not invest with you. I will not do business with you. I will not do anything with you unless you have crypto education. And when my friends showed me lack of crypto knowledge, I decided to get it on my own. Before I began to invest, I got my knowledge. But here, crypto investors in the UK lack of knowledge is very concerning. Why wouldn't I invest with you if you don't have knowledge? Because you're a risk to me. You're a walking, I'm about to get all my money stolen from me, or I'm going to lose all my money in all my investments because you don't know what's going on. Recent research from IW Capital found that 38% of the British population do not understand cryptocurrency. Well, that's better than America. See, in America, we've got more than 50%, I think it's now 60%, have been exposed to crypto. Only 8% own it. And less than 0.5% understand it. Less than 0.5%. Now, those numbers might have risen over the past 4 or 5 months. Because there's an article I'm going to read here talking about 2% of investors in the United States. But in the UK, it says 38% of the population do not understand crypto. I think it's much higher than that. I think it's more like 80%. Furthermore, a mere 5% of those cryptocurrency investors polled have actually turned a profit. That's crazy. What are they taking this just based off this year? How can you invest in crypto and you not have turned a profit? It's almost impossible. Again, basic knowledge. The only way you lose is when you sell. So the only way you don't turn a profit is if you got in on the game, you saw the market go down, you freaked out because you didn't know what was going on, and you sold. Just hold your coin. Michael Novogratz, I read that yesterday, lost 130 million, and he ain't even fazed by it because he knows what the market's going to be doing in the future. So, in fact, 5% of those in the UK have turned a profit, a fact the investment house's CEO finds very concerning. British investors do not understand cryptocurrency, according to the recent research firm IW Capital. The Mayfair Best SME investment house shared the research with express.co.uk. The report surmises that the vast majority of the UK investing community finds investing in cryptocurrency to be a worse decision than investing in traditional markets. Yeah, this is ignorance here. Even I was in London at the Blockchain Expo, and 50% of the room didn't even have a full understanding of what blockchain actually was. I was there. I'm speaking from experience, not from reading an article. The investment house polled 2,007 respondents, 38% of which said they do not understand cryptocurrency. Additionally, 1/3 of respondents are under the impression that the supposed Bitcoin bubble will soon burst, while a mere 7% believe cryptocurrency investments are better than those made through traditional channels. Do you know what this also means? Early adopters. You guys are early adopters. You know something that the majority of the population is clueless about. According to the research, only 5% of crypto investors have turned a profit, a statistic likely skewed by the fact that more than 2.5 million Brits have casually invested in crypto without fully understanding the investment, which is the fastest way to lose money, especially in a bear market. That is why I won't work with you or invest with you if you do not have crypto education or knowledge. Failure to seek financial advice. Indeed, it is the fundamental lack of knowledge which is largely responsible for the aforementioned results. That's why Cryptogenics is here, to bring crypto education to the world. The data reveals that fundamentally Brits do not have enough information or knowledge on the topic of cryptocurrency. In fact, many have no knowledge about the subject whatsoever. If I had a British accent, I would pull it out. Many have no knowledge about the subject whatsoever. Losses have also been compounded by failing to take proper investment precautions, such as consulting a financial advisor, the investment house also noted. Despite a widespread dearth of knowledge surrounding this particular asset class, disconcertingly, 1 in 20 Brits, nearly 3 million, have invested in cryptocurrency without fully understanding it, with only 5% taking advice from a financial advisor when investing in cryptocurrencies. Only 5% of those who have invested in cryptocurrency have made financial gains. 11.5 million have failed to make a financial gain when investing in a cryptocurrency. This is sad. IW Capital CEO Luke Davis also told Express UK that the results of the research are very concerning, explaining, "It is shocking but not surprising to see how much confusion around the topic of cryptocurrency. I do not believe this is a reflection of UK investors' risk profile, as a positive appetite for alternative finance remains, but to see that investments have been made without proper financial advice and lack of facts and education is very concerning." This news might not come as much of a surprise. However, as the number of first-time investors into the cryptocurrency space during the holiday season's bubble phase has been well documented. Many of those who jumped aboard the Bitcoin bandwagon in December have since gotten wrecked, I hate that word, and shaken out of the market. The results are also further proof that one should always do his own research and due diligence before investing in cryptocurrency, and should never invest more than he or she can afford to lose. Oh, wow. What is my rules in the crypto space? Number 1, education. And number 2, never invest money you cannot afford to lose. Those are my top 2 rules. I learned that from experience. Andrew, I don't like that word. I hate trying to say it. That and hodl. Hold. HODL. Those 2, it just irks me. Speaking of London, let's stay in London for a bit. I enjoyed my trip to London. It was a nice, beautiful week. London remittance firm launches cryptocurrency trading service. Says cryptos are here to stay. All right. So you better learn about this real quick, Londoners. Cryptos are here to stay. TransferGo, a London-based remittance service, has become the first remittance provider to offer a cryptocurrency trading service and will offer Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, and XRP in response to a strong demand for cryptocurrency, according to Bloomberg. Dumantis Devilinskas, founder and CEO of TransferGo, expanded on what he called a strong demand for cryptocurrencies in a podcast interview with Daybreak Europe's Nejra Sihik and Marcus Carlson. Our clients wanted it. That's all you needed to know right there. That's all that needs to be said. Our clients wanted it. Demontis said, customers, when asked, said they wanted to buy cryptocurrencies. TransferGo has more than 65,000 users and is adding 1,000 new customers daily. So they want to meet a customer's need. More than 4,000 users have signed up for the new service, which offers support in 7 languages in first few hours. The service is available on both the Android and iOS app versions. The Know Your Customer and AML policies and the remittance service follows apply to the new trading service. The remittance service is separated from the cryptocurrency services, DeMontis said. Customers will not be sending cryptocurrencies to their relatives in other countries, but will be buying them for their own use. DeMontis said he has a long-term perspective on cryptocurrencies. As a platform, they're here to stay, he said, and as a platform, we want to be a very easy and user-friendly way for consumers to get access to these. Which ones will succeed or fail, that's a completely different topic. The demand for remittances is mostly coming from Europe. Asked if the demand for remittances will decline on account of Brexit, he said there will be a reshuffle of people across Europe. Where the UK has dominated the remittance market, he sees other parts of Europe becoming more active. What we see now is people are moving away and choosing their other countries to work. He said, citing Scandinavia and Germany, TransferGo's business will remain Europe-focused. Blockchain technology will become the new tool for information exchange in the financial industry, he added. Brock Pierce, the chairman of the Bitcoin Foundation, has said Bitcoin can become more mainstream as a remittance tool for the developing world. Siam Commercial Bank recently added euros and sterling to its Ripple-powered blockchain remittance platform. The service will be available to retail customers receiving inbound remittances from Europe as the bank seeks partner Ripple Bank to support the service. All right, let's leave the UK and let's come to the United States. And this says the U.S. Gallup poll shows only 2% of American investors own Bitcoin. I thought this was higher. At the beginning of the year, it was at 8%. So how are you going down to 2%? Let's see. All right, put that in the chat box. According to a Wells Fargo Gallup investor and Retirement Optimism Index poll, just 2% of Americans surveyed own Bitcoin. 2%. The poll is based on U.S. adults who have at least $10,000 or more invested in things like, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. This survey, he needs to change up the title, saying only 2% of American investors who have $10,000 or more invested own Bitcoin. Because there's a lot more Americans that's buying crypto that don't have $10,000 in traditional investments. So the poll is based on U.S. adults who have at least $10,000 or more invested in things like mutual funds, stocks, and bonds. That ain't the average American. The average American has less than $1,000 in their savings account. So if that's the case, they don't have $10,000 invested in mutual funds and stocks. So we're talking about an elite group here who isn't sold on Bitcoin yet. It says the Gallup poll also reveals that 26% of the U.S. residents surveyed are intrigued by Bitcoin, but have no plans in investing anytime soon. Yeah, this is what we call institutional investors. Okay? So, in other words, only 2% of institutional investors own Bitcoin, whereas 8% of the U.S. population does, which is another sign. You're the early adopter. You're getting on the rocket before they put the rocket fuel in the rocket yet. So you want to get in that rocket and sit, because the sucker's going to take off. Gallup data says American investors find Bitcoin investment risky, but young investors say they would jump in if Bitcoin was more mainstream. And what can make it more mainstream? An ETF, exchange traded funds, where they don't even have to actually buy Bitcoin to invest in it. Wells Fargo has published the results of a Gallup investor poll, which shows only 2% of U.S. residents own some Bitcoin. That's not true. You got to watch the wording here. 2% of investors in the U.S. own some Bitcoin. The Investor and Retirement Optimism Index survey was conducted online between May 7th to the 14th in 2018, and the web study consisted of 1,921 American investors ages 18 and older. Bitcoin, the leading form of digital currency that has seen its price soar, crash, and rise again in the past year, has made little headway with U.S. investors, explains the report. According to a Wells Fargo Gallup poll, just 2% of investors say they currently own Bitcoin, and less than 1% plan to buy it in the near future. So remember what I did my live yesterday. I said our window of opportunity is probably 8 months. You got a good 8 months before the investors start to wake up to this. They're watching it though. It says while more investors say they have no interest in ever buying Bitcoin, that's going to change. About 1 in 4, 26% say they are intrigued by it but won't be buying anytime soon. Let me tell you when you're going to see them buy. The Bitcoin price right now is $8,200. When the sucker doubles and gets back into that $15,000, $16,000 range, FOMO is going to kick in. And it's going to be all over the news. You're going to see it all over Facebook. People who hasn't bought or did anything with Bitcoin since 2017, all of a sudden you're going to start seeing them talk about it. You want to know when cryptogenics is going to explode? When the Bitcoin market starts to rise. Because now everybody wants to get in on the game. And then at least some of them will have the basic knowledge to say, man, you know what? I think I need to get some education on this. And I'm going to be a marketing fool during that time too. Running my mouth all over the place. Because people are going to come to me asking me questions. I'm like, look, I can't work with you. I can't invest with you unless you pull out $300. You need to get in cryptogenics. At least I know you're going to have a solid foundation on some crypto education. Now let's talk investments. But don't come talk to me investments if you don't want to get educated. That's how I do it. All right, let me continue. Most U.S. investors are on the sidelines. 75% of the longitudinal panel of U.S. investors surveyed stated they found cryptocurrency investment risky, while 23% of those polled found the investment to be somewhat risky. Only 2% of the investors polled said Bitcoin investments were not too risky, and just 0.5% found it to be not risky at all. The more you know what you find? The more education you have, the less risky it gets. I don't see this as risky at all. I go in knowing somewhere along the way I'm going to lose. Like I did the other day. Because I bet against Bitcoin when the ETF was denied for the Winklevoss. In one of my accounts I made a move because I believed that it was going to drop the market down probably 1,000 points. It went down 400 points. And then it came right back up less than 12 hours later. And I made a move, and I bet wrong on that move. Had I not been plugged into the internet or paying attention, I would have missed it and I wouldn't have lost because I missed it. It happened that fast. But I made a quick move, a quick decision, and I lost. So I'm not always right. But I profit far more than I lose. So education gives you that foundation to navigate this space. Says the study found that because a majority of individuals believe Bitcoin is risky, most prefer security over growth, and U.S. investors prefer to play it safe with their investments. Looking to the future, however, many younger investors who currently say they are intrigued may be converted to investors once the currency goes more mainstream. For now, most investors are on the sidelines, knowing little to nothing about Bitcoin. Few are already invested in it, and even fewer plan to jump in soon. Shad's Webb study also concludes that out of the 2% that own Bitcoin, ownership is more common among wealthier investors, earning $90,000 a year. Wait, let me read that part again. My mind kind of slipped on me. The Webb study also concludes that out of the 2% that own Bitcoin, ownership is more common among wealthier investors earning $90,000 a year or more, while low-income investors don't invest in Bitcoin as much. The researcher also notes that 3 in 10 of the investors, 29%, polled knew some things about crypto, knew some things. 67% said they'd heard of specific digital currencies, but don't have that much knowledge about them. And 5% have never heard of any type of virtual currencies. Again, education is key. You educate yourself, you are going to put yourself far ahead of even those that's already investing in the space. Don't skip the education part. All right, and the last article I'm going to cover is not directly related to crypto, but I'm going to show you how it also is and why we need to pay attention. Russia. Why Russia? Why are we still talking about Russia? They had no impact on U.S. elections. They're our best friends. The Russians want to see America succeed. What's all the hoopla? What's all the fuss about with Russia? Let's not forget, Russia hates the United States. In particular, their president. Vladimir Putin is not a friend of America, is not looking after American interests. He's a former KGB official, assassin of the Soviet Union. He has grandiose plans of taking his weak-ass economy, Russia, and making it a world power. They are not. The only thing that Russia has is a nuclear arsenal, which forces us to have to respect them. Their economy is crap. It is nowhere near the United States. They're not even on the same playing field. Yet, why do they hold so much power? Because we are still looking at them as they're not the Soviet Union anymore. They don't have that power. So if you're the president of freaking Russia, and you want to act like you're the Soviet Union and the big power again, but you know, besides nuclear weapons, your military can't touch the United States. And if the United States ever decides to get froggy, can kick their tails all the way back to the Siberia if there's no nukes involved. They know this. We know this. So if you're leading Russia, what would you do? Fight the best way you know how. Attack America the best way you can. Hacking, digital. Attack the US dollar. You're never going to be able to attack our military, but by attacking the US dollar. And there's multiple ways they can do this. And this article is going to tell you one of those ways. And then I'm going to tie it all together. Russia is dumping U.S. debt and buying gold instead. I also find interesting because I keep seeing reports that Donald Trump is about to do something or is thinking of doing something that no president in 60 years or 50 years, 50 years has even dared to dream of. In fact, the last president who attempted to make this move got assassinated. Now, I'm not saying that because he was going in this direction caused him to get assassinated. I'm just stating a fact. He was going down this path and he got assassinated. JFK. But Trump is attempting to bring gold back into the mix of backing the US dollar and taking power away from the Federal Reserve. That's a bold move right there. There's a reason why other presidents never tried it. We're in uncharted territories if he does this. But the rest of the world is also looking at this as well. I don't know if Trump is doing it because Putin's about to do it, but Putin has different reasons for doing it. See, the U.S. reason for doing it is because we know the U.S. dollar is devalued and worthless. The people just haven't figured it out yet. And one way to preempt that is if you move it back to something that is real value, like the gold standard from 1971. Now the money is backed by something real. So if we do have another economic collapse, which we will, and if your money's backed by gold, then you're diminishing the inflation that's going to take place. If it's not backed by gold and it's just the paper that is printed on, then you're going to see Venezuela, Zimbabwe, Mexico type inflation take place. Remember how much $20 could get you at the grocery store 40 years ago? And then remember what it can get you 20 years ago, 10 years ago. Today, hell, 4 items maybe at the grocery store, $20, 3, 4 items, cereal, milk, bread, and some cheese, $18.95. So we'll say what? $20 ain't going to get you much. What do you think $20 is going to get you when the economy collapses? When they say bottled water, $15. Milk, $25 for milk. You want some bread? $17 for a loaf of bread. You think I'm lying? You already see how expensive things at the grocery store are right now for $20. Imagine when, and this is when you listen to the news. If you listen to Fox News, this is the greatest economy we've had in the decades right now. You're like, really? Yeah, well, why am I still struggling to pay my bills? So here is what Russia is doing, and I'm going to tell you why it's going to affect us. Because I saw Rob Harris posted this article, and I saw some people in the comments, yay, go Russia, Vladimir Putin's so smart, yay, and thinking, I'm like, you're a freaking American, this ain't good for us. Oh yeah, and I got to pull my education out on this. I am a political science major. I have a degree. I'm not just talking from my ass. I actually know and understand what's going on. So I'm going to share some of that knowledge on you. Russia's Prime Minister Vladimir Putin. Russian ownership of U.S. Treasury bonds dropped from $96.1 billion in March to an 11-year low of $14.9 billion in May, the latest Treasury figures show. That's a huge drop. From $96.1 billion to $14.9 billion. The Treasury on Tuesday released a list of the top 33 national investors in its bonds. Russia, once in the top 10, was absent. Elvira Nabiullina, the head of Central Bank of Russia, reportedly said, cutting the stake was the result of an assessment of financial, economic, and geopolitical risks. Risks. Well, I can never say that word properly. R-I-S-K-S. Risks. Russia has been buying gold as it sells off U.S. bonds, recently overtaking China in ownership of the commodity, now at a value of $80.5 billion. Russia has sharply reduced its holdings of United States Treasury bonds, with Russian ownership recently moving to an 11-year low. Russia's ownership of U.S. bonds declined from $96.1 billion in March to $48.7 billion in April. That's half. And then to just $14.9 billion in May. They're getting rid of it completely. If you guys have been paying attention to my crypto talks, this should be no surprise. According to the most recent data available, the Russian news website RT and the finance blog Wolf Street reported this week. On Tuesday, the U.S. Treasury released a list of the top 33 investors in U.S. debt. Now think about that. The U.S. is almost $21 trillion in debt. Yet we're still functioning. Why aren't we still functioning? Why aren't we under the ground right now? Because other markets is buying our debt. Why would another country buy U.S. debt? This is where you got to understand economics. Because the U.S. dollar is still the strongest in the world. And with the United States saying, oh, we'll just print money whenever we want to. That debt holds value until they decide it doesn't hold any more value. And them buying our debt is keeping us afloat. It says, Russia was among the top 10 in 2010 with ownership of $176.3 billion. Okay, so in 2010, they owned $176.3 billion of U.S. debt. Less than 10 years later, 8 years later, that is only down to $14.9 billion. Do you see a trend here? They're getting rid of it. The country began unloading its U.S. debt as President Barack Obama raised sanctions against Russia in 2011 and has since intensified its sales. Do you see a pattern? We put sanctions on them. They say we need to get rid of this U.S. debt. We cannot be beholden to the U.S. dollar. We need to be able to survive even with threats of sanctions. Now you have to ask yourself, Russia could just comply and say, yeah, we're not going to act a fool out here. We're not going to attack Crimea. We're going to go ahead and do what the European Union, the rest of the world, be cool. We're going to be cool. Keep buying our U.S. debt. We're not going to have sanctions put on us. Why? What are they doing? Or what is their goal where they are willing to risk U.S. sanctions? Why would they do that? You ask yourself that question? Those of you who think that Russian involvement in the U.S. is a good thing? Russian hacking the DNC is a good thing? It doesn't matter who they hack, the DNC or the RNC. They're attacking America. It's not a good thing. They have an agenda. They're dumping our debt. Let me finish here. Elvira Nabiullina, the head of the Central Bank of Russia, said the reduction was due to an assessment of financial, economic, and geopolitical risks. Nabiullina said the gold purchases were helping to diversify Russia's wealth. There's another reason for that I'm going to tell you in a second. Garvey, the global head of debt and rates strategy at ING, said that for Russia, it was like moving from a safe asset to an ultra-safe asset. Can you think of that? Buying U.S. debt is considered a safe asset. That's just crazy. But the world's doing it. What happens when the world wakes up and says, we don't want to do that no more? They have an alternative. Russia has been buying large amounts of gold as it continues to sell U.S. Treasury bonds, recently overtaking China in gold reserves with $80.5 billion worth, according to Russia's central bank. China held $1.2 trillion of U.S. debt in May, the most of any foreign country, while Turkey nearly halved its U.S. debt holdings to $32.6 billion in May from $62 billion in 2017, and Germany's position stood at just $78.3 billion. Now you hear about another country selling off U.S. debt. The rest of the world is starting to drop it. The U.S. currency has come under increasing pressure in 2018 as U.S. debt mounts. Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you what this article is not telling you. Russia has a goal. Russia, China, India, Iran, they all have a goal. They want to limit United States dominance in the world. They want to go back to the way things were before World War II, and even World War I. United States was not a global power before then. We didn't have influence on the world like we do now. But after World War II, we rebuilt the rest of the world. Our infrastructure was the only one that wasn't smashed to bits, because no army could go get across the Pacific or the Atlantic, and Canada and Mexico were our allies. So we rebuilt the rest of the world, backed by the US dollar. But there comes a time where those countries might think that the United States is abusing its power. Just look at the last 30, 40 years of policy, United States policy. It doesn't matter, Democrat or Republican. It doesn't matter who was president. We have always had an America First policy. And other countries go along with it because it's in their best interest to do what America wants. But at the end of the day, regardless of who's president, we will always do what's in America's best interest. We have always been that way. Bush, Clinton, Reagan, Obama, Trump on a different kind of way. Carter, I don't know. Carter could be a little funny. But if Russia continues to dump the US dollar and the other countries follow suit, that means less countries are holding our debt and they are gathering more physical currency like gold. And then they're getting in on digital currencies like crypto, Bitcoin, or coming up with their own. Here's what they're doing. They're going to launch their own cryptocurrency. It's not a crypto though, but it's a digital currency backed by gold. Putin had no... I mean, he ain't even lying anymore. He flat out said up front, yeah, we want to get away from the US dollar so we can stop US sanctions. So US sanctions don't hurt us. But let's bring it home. What does that have to do with you? I mean, it's Sunday, you're relaxing. Last day before you got to get up in rush hour traffic tomorrow to go to your 9-to-5 job. And you're thinking, this don't affect me. Okay. When the world stops buying U.S. debt, we got to pay the bill. We can't afford to pay the bill. The economy goes into another recession. And then it goes into a Great Depression. Bigger than in the 20s. You lose your job. You lose your wages. Your money's worthless. You can't buy anything at the grocery store. The banks lock up their banks. You run on the banks. There's no way to get your money out. And it's worthless even if you do. The rest of the world's surviving because they prepared for this. They got their digital coins ready to go. Backed by gold. I mean, is there really gold in Fort Knox right now? Who knows? Those doors ain't been open in 30, 40 years. Nobody knows what gold is in there or how much. Americans willingly gave up all their gold back in the 30s. They just passed it over. Or was it World War I? I think it was before World War II. Gave up all their gold. Traded in your gold for a paper note. Where's that gold at right now? Who controls it? Who owns it? So, when the economy goes to hell, will you be prepared? Will you be? Well, Brandon, I don't know what to do. I'm just a guy that's trying to provide for my family. What can I do? There's a whole lot you can do. Number one, you can get educated so you know what's going on. You know you're not going to be able to stop this. It's like knowing the book of Revelation. Knowing the signs of the time when the Antichrist will be revealed and when Jesus returns for the second time. You're not going to be able to stop this. It's foretold. It's going to happen. But knowing it can help you to be prepared for it. Recognizing the times, you can prepare for it. So I look at this stuff And I see the signs of the times. I see the demise of the US dollar. And as a father and a husband, I got to prepare for this. So how can I prepare for it? Cryptocurrency. If these other countries are getting prepared to survive the downfall of the US dollar, I'm going to be prepared as well. Live completely off the grid. Can you live off the grid? I have complete financial freedom. I don't work a 9-to-5 job. I don't have a boss telling me what to do, giving me a paycheck. I make money in Bitcoin. I earn Bitcoin. And if the economy goes down, I'll still be earning Bitcoin. Bitcoin's value will remain the same. The US dollar value is going to go to hell. How do you think people are eating in Venezuela? Because of Bitcoin. And the value of Bitcoin is going to be worth even more because everybody's going to want a piece of it. That's how you can prepare. There's 3 things you can do right now. I'm going to give you this free, I can't say advice. I'm going to give you this free suggestion. And again, as a disclaimer, I'm not a licensed financial advisor to be dispensing financial advice. There's 3 things you can do right now. 2 of them I can guarantee you. The first thing you can do, take $300 and get your cryptogenics education. That I can guarantee, not that you're going to make money. I can guarantee you're going to have enough knowledge to be able to make wise decisions in this space. You cannot unlearn what you learn. Nobody can take your education away from you. That's one. Here's the second thing I can guarantee. Set up a budget where you are putting a percentage of your money into crypto every single month. And just sit on it. Like you're doing your 401k or your savings account or on your job. Put aside whatever your budget is. Some people's budget, they can afford to do $2,000 a month. Some people can only afford to do $100 a month. Or $20 a week. It doesn't matter the amount. As long as you're doing it. And that I can guarantee long term. Crypto ain't going anywhere. The third thing I cannot guarantee. This is a calculated risk. But it is a calculated risk that if it pans out at least 10% correct, you're going to be ahead of the game. And that third thing is purchase a GreenX mining machine. $3,750. Purchase a GreenX mining machine. 3 people, including Kathy Keene, just sent me a video today that I have not watched yet because I just woke up and started doing this Facebook Live. But if 3 people sent it to me, there's something to it. So I am going to, even though I haven't watched the video yet, I'm going to copy this link and I'm going to put it in the chat box. I don't know fully what this is all about yet, but if Kathy's excited about it, there must be something to it. So as soon as I hang up from here, I'm going to be watching this. But the title of this, well, just looking at the description, Jeremy Rifkin will lay out a game plan for the future, referring to the advent of a smart, green, digital economy as part of the third industrial revolution. What's going on, Christy? Hear that? So I'm going to watch that one right now, see what he's talking about, see if I can learn something new. It might force me to probably want to buy another GreenX mining rig. I'm going to put my hustle on. I got to make a whole lot of money the next 2 weeks so I can go ahead and start buying some more. Anyways, that's it for today. I apologize for getting started late. I've been sleeping well. I mean, no matter what time I go to sleep at night, I'm still waking up at the same time. Around 8:45, 9 o'clock, 9:30. I'm going to force myself tomorrow because I'm myself on an agenda. Gym, 6 a.m. gym time. Or 7 a.m. Go to sleep before 1 a.m. Get up, go to the gym. I got to stick to that schedule. come back, do Facebook Live, and begin my day. So anyways, I hope you guys learned something new. As always, that is the point. I will be back tonight for a late night crypto talk, and I'll talk about what I learned from this video. The third industrial revolution. You guys are living it right now. Have a great day. God bless. See you all later. Bye-bye.
Crypto Gen X.